Mr. Burley at the York Catholic District School Board. What I'm going to do, this is the third video in this series. The first one we drew this, and then the second one we did the orthographic projection with the 45-degree angle and set these drawings, these sections of the drawing. What we're going to do now is we're going to add dimensions and we're going to add hidden lines. I'm not going to, we could go into layout mode and we could do the piece of paper and such that we could print it. But the reality is we're not going to print these drawings, and printing is kind of a waste of time in my opinion nowadays anyways. So we're just going to leave it in the model space as opposed to going into the layout. So next year or the year after you may need to know these things right here, but we're not going to cover them right now. So what I want to do first of all is we will set up the hidden lines, the hidden line features. And so we're going to come into the layer properties here. We're going to add a layer, and we're going to call it hidden lines, like that. And we're going to change, I can change the color. I'm going to make the color, I don't know, like a light blue color so I can see it nicely, like this. Click OK. And then we're going to make it current, because right now we're sitting on the object line. So we're going to make it current, and then we're going to get rid of that. So now we're ready to do the hidden lines. But before we do the hidden lines, I need to draw in the feature for the that we're going to add. So we're going to add, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this right here. You can see this. I'm going to add this channel right here, and you can see it's 10 millimeters from the edge. It's 25 millimeters wide, and over here it shows you it's 5 millimeters deep. I didn't put the arrows in, but you see how that works. So I need to draw that, and in order to draw it, I need to not be on the hidden line. We need to be on the object line because it's going to be a solid object. So if there was a channel, like that channel right there you see, you wouldn't be able to see it from the top view, and you wouldn't be able to see it from the side view because it would be underneath this and it would be inside of that. But we would see it from this end here. So we're going to draw it in. So I'm going to draw it in just like that, 10 millimeters over 25 and 5 deep. And so how do I do that? I'm on the object layer, create a line, bring the line down across this way. So walking it that way, it's 10. So it's locked in down at 10 now. Whoop. And line it up this way, 10, enter. So it's drawn down at 10. And then we're going to go up at 5, enter. We're going to make it 25 wide. And we're going to go back down and grab it here. So that feature is now drawn in. The only thing is this line right across here would not be existing. If this was to be machined out or cut out, this wouldn't be there. So we're going to have to, of course, trim that. So I'm going to trim it. I'm going to click this line, click this line, and this line. I'm going to hit the Enter key, and then I'm going to take that section out. So now hit the Escape key and get out of that command. One of the things I want to mention, I should have mentioned in earlier videos, if AutoCAD won't do something, if you're trying to do something and you just can't get it to work, hit the Escape key a couple times. Sometimes you're locked in a command. So now the channel's in the right spot, but up in here we'd have to now draw the hidden line features. So we can come up here as the object line, we can change it to the hidden line features. Now, hidden line, one of the things I didn't do, we're going to go on to here. We've changed the color to the light blue. The hidden line is active. You can see that. We're going to click on this line type, and we're going to find a line type. What we need is, as you know, in the previous lesson, we went through alphabet of lines. We have to have the dashed lines for hidden line features. So we go load, and there's a couple of different ones in here. The one I found I like looks the nicest right here is the hidden line ×2 or hidden ×2. The other ones, there's other ones as well. You know, so you've got phantom lines and all the rest of it. So we got all the lines available to us. I'm going to double click this one, and I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to go OK. And the hidden line feature here will be using hidden line, OK. It's using the hidden line feature. So I'm going to come in, I would need to do a hidden line here. I'm going to exit out of that. I need to bring a hidden line from here across. We're on the hidden line tab, or layer. So I'm going to click the line tool. I'm going to grab this guy, and I'm going to come straight across here, and I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go walking across this way, and I'm going to grab that. Boom. Hit the Escape key. And now you can see I've got a hidden line feature, and you can see it's exactly right. There's no other hidden lines on this layer, right? Because you wouldn't see this line, and you wouldn't see this line. This would be the only one you would see hidden running the right way through. Now the top, there would also be hidden lines here. No hidden lines here. no hidden, just one hidden line here. And then this one here, the channel, you would see two hidden lines. The first one would be, click on this, you come down this way, it's 10 millimeters. So we're locked in at 10, we run across this way and bang. So we've got that. So now this line right here, right there, is that one running across. The next one is parallel to this, running 25 millimeters down. And there's several ways we can do that. We can click this line here, and then we could click on offset, and we could say offset by 25 millimeters, enter, and which side, and we could do it that way. Or alternatively, we could also go line tool, and we know this is 10 and this is 25, so that would be 35. So we could lock in there. We could come down here and go 35, enter, and then we could walk over this way and we could finish that. So there's, whoop, that didn't work out very well, did it? I wasn't zoomed in far close enough. I was off the line. So it's 25. Oh, it's actually 35. Enter. Zoom in, make sure I'm in the right spot. Boom, and then come across. Okay, so there we have it. So now if I measure this from there to there, we can see that that's 25 millimeters. And so from this edge down, it would be 35. Okay, so that is, the hidden lines are completed. There's another section after we're finished. I'll show you a little bit later. But now what we want to do is we want to come in and we want to start dimensioning it. Now I'm not going to dimension every single dimension in here. What I'm going to do is show you how it's dimensioned, and then I want you to go through and figure out which dimensions do we need. And be careful not to redundantly dimension something. In other words, so this dimension from here to here is the same as this dimension from here to here. So we wouldn't have to dimension this and then dimension this. Same with the width. We wouldn't have to dimension this and this because they're the same dimension. So you want to be careful with redundant dimensioning. And you also want to keep in mind, and we've gone over this before in class, by this point in time, is you want to simplify the drawing as much as possible. You don't need to put every single dimension in. In other words, if you have this dimension from here to here, and then you have this dimension from here to here, and then this dimension from here to here, you don't need to dimension this, because the person could, if the person needed to know that dimension, they could simply do the math. So you leave out by default certain dimensions and just make the assumption that the person's going to be doing a bit of math here and there. You also try to keep the drawing as simple as possible. You try to keep your dimensions in position so they're not all convoluted. You wouldn't dimension everything on this. You try to dimension maybe the width of the slot would you dimension over here, and then this dimension would go here, and so on. So you try to keep your drawing clear and concise. So let's go ahead and start doing the dimensions. So we're going to go layer properties. I've already got a layer made up with dimensions, and I've got it changed to white. I just found it was easier to see it. So we're going to make the dimension layer active. Exit out of that, and we'll start to add a few dimensions. So dimension number one, we're obviously, so whenever you're dimensioning something, always imagine you're making it and think, okay, well, what else do I have to add? What else do I have to add? Did I miss any dimensions? There's nothing worse than having to, you know, shut off your computer and open up a new drawing because, or the old drawing, because you didn't dimension something and somebody's knocking at your office door and needs a new dimension. And then they want to talk to you about their kids and hockey and stuff and waste, you know, half an hour of your time. So I don't have anything against hockey. It just happened to come in my head. So dimension. So we're going to go from here to here. Now, I got to back up a step. Sorry. Click on annotations, standard annotations, and manage dimension styles. There's a couple of things got to change in here to make it look nicer on this particular drawing. We're going to go to modify. And in here, we're going to go to lines. And in lines, we're going to set offset from origin to 1 millimeter. And what that is that little gap right there. So currently, when I turned on the thing this morning, it was at 0.2, and it actually looked like that was attached. And we know from our manual drafting that we want to have a gap there. So I set that to 1. All this other stuff over here will be by block. See where it says by block? That means that if you're on the dimension layer, any of these things will take on the characteristics of that particular layer. When I come into the arrows here, I changed the arrow size to 2. This is quite subjective. It's whatever you like. And again, you want your drawing to be as clear as possible. So I set mine to 2, and I thought it looked pretty good. You can change them to filled. You can change them, so you can play around with these. Feel free to change some of this stuff. Text. The text I set to 1.5 millimeters so that you could read it. Initially, it was like 0.2 or something, and you couldn't see anything. And the rest of the stuff is okay. We're going to come into primary units here. Later on, we'll talk about tolerances, but primary units for right now. And the primary units, the precision is this. So precision base is based on how tight the tolerance is. So this particular thing right here, 8.466, with 3 decimal places, it means it's a tight tolerance. You'll see on the drawing, sometimes it's plus or minus 0.5 or whatever the case may be. And then if you switch it to this, it's probably plus or minus 0.1 or 0.01, sorry. At any rate, for our clarity, we're not worrying about tolerancing right now. We're just learning this part. So we'll talk about tolerance a little bit later in the semester. This is precision. We'll just set it to 2. Okay, and select OK, and then close that. And so now when we go to dimension things, so if I'm going to dimension this guy right here from there to there, and click that, and you zoom in, and now you can see we've got a nice 1 millimeter gap. It's in white because it's taking on the dimension layer. 55 millimeters. Another thing I might do is I might change the gap there and there slightly, but I'm going to leave it for now. And again, that's done within there. So here's some dimensions we need. So let's talk about the overall length of the block first of all. So it's 55 millimeters wide, and so I wouldn't need to dimension this, or would I need to dimension that? Yes, I would. So this dimension from here to here is identical as this one is from here to here. It's really annoying. I'm going to jump into that for a second. Well, I'm just talking to you and wiggling this around. Okay, so now I'm going to dimension this guy from here to here. I'm going to click on this, dimension from there to there, bring it out a little bit. I'm going to put it out a little ways like this because you're going to have to dimension something else. You're going to add something in here shortly. And so you're going to need a place to put those dimensions. So you might want to set this dimension out a little further and this dimension out a little further. I'll tell you why right now. After I'm finished with this particular part of the tutorial, you as the student are going to come in here and you're going to draw a box 20 millimeters by 20 like this, and it's a hole and it goes all the way through. And I want you to draw that on the object layer just like you would. Then I want you to go in and put the hidden line features as they're required, and then I want you to dimension it. So that said, I want to leave these dimensions out a little bit. So what I could do is I could come back in and you can move them afterwards, right? Like this. Just click on them and move them if you need to. Zoom out and move them up when it comes time to dimension some other stuff. Okay, so I need there's dimensions there. The dimension of the overall height. So I could do the height here, or I could do the height over here. So I'm going to do the height here. And the reason is because I want to do the height of that channel right there. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to, again, try to figure out a way to make it as clear as possible. Right, now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do that channel height. So from there to there, and there's my channel height of 5 millimeters. And over here, I could do the width of the channel here to here, or I could do it from here to here. I think I'm going to do it down in here. I'm going to do this dimension from here to here. And we'll talk about datums a little bit later too, and where you dimension things. You try to dimension everything from the same side. Okay, so A, B, and C datums we'll talk about a little bit further on in the course, but right now I'm going to use this as my B datum, and I'm going to try to measure everything from here over. Okay, so now from there to there, so it's 25 millimeters. And maybe the height of this guy from here to here I could put right there. Again, trying to keep everything clear, that's 15 height. And the height of this guy from there to there, I haven't got anything over here yet, so why don't I just go ahead and do that. There's 10. And then the overall height I've got, I don't know how wide this is. I could do that here to here, but it would jumble up the drawing, and if I did it up top, it would make the drawing kind of messy as well. So I could come over here and go, okay, well, this is my B datum on this side, so I could go from there to there and set that dimension, right? And I need to know the height. This is a square 25 by 25, so I could do this square here to here, maybe, and then this dimension across here is 25. So you continue that, again, trying to keep your drawing as simple as possible. You could make the numbers a little bit bigger if you wanted to. I'm having a hard time seeing them right now. I have to zoom in to see them, but I need glasses, so there's a different thing there altogether. So that's what I'd like you to do now. So finish dimensioning this up, Have a look at it. I'm going to hit the escape key so it doesn't keep jumping around. Make sure all the dimensions are present, because what I want to do when I'm going to look at your drawing and I say, okay, well, I'm making it, what dimension is missing, and each dimension missing is going to be, maybe some marks off. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Okay, so it'll be on, so what I'd like you to do now is, as we said before, I'd like you to take this drawing here, and I would like you to draw this in. I'd like you to put the dimensions, I'd like you to put the hidden line features, and I'd like you to dimension this. So dimension the whole entire object, including this and including this channel and everything we've just done.